YHWH. There is none like Yeshua. Hallelujah. 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 Am I on now, son? Hakibo? Alright, Yabra, Torah-san. I want to say greetings to you all that have joined us here, me, on this live broadcast here at YisraYah'ale's congregation in Yeshua. This is a special report from the documents of Shemayim from the heavens. And I want to teach tonight on the Torah year, what many would call the biblical New Year. We began, who instituted it, how was it instituted, who is the orchestrator of things. We find an ignorance in today's society that it is beyond comprehension, because everyone, without any kind of scholarship of laborious studying, defining each superlative, each words, they know everything. And I've never seen anything like I have seen in this generation. With over 40-some years preaching, I have not seen the stupidity of ignorance. And I will confess to any man that I'm a very ignorant man. But this is blatant stupidity. And so I'm going to define things by some of the most reputable resources. I will utilize the scholarship of men, those that understand the language of our forefathers and understand the dynamics of each word. And I think and I know that that is vitally important to us as a people, as a nation, as the elect of Almighty Yah. It's one thing that I do understand, that the ignorance of this generation, there are many that will identify that I am a Hebrew Israelite. I have no compunction with it. But so was Esau. He was a Hebrew. There was never a YisraYah'ale until Yaakov, but they all were Hebrews. From Esau, all of the lineage of Abraham, they were all Hebrews. But out of his loins, Yitzchak, he produced the lineage, authority and power, and whereby that line, that zerah, the seed, shall proceed from. So I'm going to speak as a man that is ignorant. I want all of you all to challenge me. I do. I love challenges. I love the interaction of even debating. I want you to establish yourself tonight. I'm here in the tabernacle by myself. We have not gathered on tonight, but they have gathered in their homes. We have places they can gather and listen. And I simply wanted to teach because this will become a process of teaching, of things you never heard, of things you don't know because you're too smart to know them. You already know everything. So grab your tablets, your Bibles, or if you have the lost writings of Torah, books like YHWH, Yeshua, or what you would call the Apocrypha, I want you to have them by your side, sitting at your tables, your families, and I want you to correct me in any injection of my own concept or quote a religious philosophy that will interfere with Yah's Torah. Everything in the special report will come from the Torah. I want to use a resource as I began. I do believe that the lexicon, the scholarship of men, just like I believe in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the definitive, the etymology of words, when men search and they travel the word to understand the origin of words, and then there could be a little of their own self-identity in that. But I want to begin here with a words that we would pronounce as Chodesh. Chodesh, the month, the beginning, how things are orchestrated by the command of Yah. But I want to identify the word Shaneh. It is the year. It is the beginning, when it begins, how it is orchestrated, what are the days, or is there a 13th month according to the Latinic cycle or the intercalaries. This will begin that teaching that I will teach all during the fall of the year, the winter, even into next spring. I want to show you the corruption of this vile, religious, self-righteous mindset. So let me identify, first of all, the word Shaneh, what it means. And this is what the lexicon says, the lexicon. It says this quote, first the word year may be based upon, this is how the word year is based upon, is based upon the relationship between seasons, the sun, the solar year, or the agriculture year. I want to say this to you, my listeners, whether you're my friend or not. Those that identify with Judaism or Jewism, they have 14 different ways to determine what the year is when it begins to satisfy their own religious proclivity. They will not have a feast, a moed, that will run in conjunction with the Shabbat, and they have done that unscrupulously, and that is how many organize things on what has already been. We have not legitimately, our leaders, searched the Torah to see what it says. So the word Shodef, this is what it says. Secondly, it can be based on a correlation of season and the moon, lunar year. Third, year may be decided by the basis of the correlation between the movement of the earth, the stars, and that is what they call a stellar year. At many points, the people, I want you to hear this. This is somewhat a reference of historical events. It says people of the Tanakh period set the seasons according to the climate, or the agriculture event. We have seen one of the most blatant violence, transgression of Torah this year. It was very blatant. They added there Adar too. This is blatant. We're going to research the principle of days and years and times and season. We're going to see what the book says and see how that events and this agricultural society, they will alter days, they will inject time, they will inject days. We're going to find out precisely what Almighty Yahweh says. And so they base the year on those kind of things. It says the year ended with the grapes and the fruit harvest in the month of Elul. You shall keep the feast of harvest and the first fruit of your labor, which you have sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is the end of year. Well, according according to many other Jewish traditions, and Talmudic, the Talmud, Rosh Hashanah is the head of the year. That's a new year. As they will inject what you say the new school year has nothing to do with anything that is precise in the ordaining of the year when it begins and when it ends. And so there are all kinds of systems among those of Judaism that they ordain years and times, especially this one, what we call Pesach, that just passed. Those that said that there's a second Edar, it's a lie from the gutters of hell. Unless I prove all things tonight according to Torah, please reject me. Don't ever listen to me at all. Now, I want you to hear this. There's a calendar called the Getzar. The Getzar calendar showed that by the time it was written about the 10th century before the Common Era, some in Palestine were using the lunar calendar. Many will say that's what Hanuk is, a lunar solar. That's a lie. It is one of the most violent lies conjured by this damnable, twisted generation. Will prove all things. The calendar began in the spring, the month Nisan, March, April, and had 12 months or periods between new months. It is said that this solar agriculture year begins in the spring similar, if not delivered from, it is of the same kind of texture and same kind of rendition of what they call the Babylon calendar. The name, the months, it is simply a derivative of Bobel. It is simply a derivative. It has nothing to do with Almighty Yah. And this is profound here. This is what it says in the lexicon. It says an exact picture of the Tanakh year is very clear in the writings of Hanuk, Enoch's calendar. You hear these juveniles all over. They want to tell you that Hanuk's calendar is a lunar solar. They're liars. We will prove what Hanuk said. We will examine the pages of Torah and prove everything according to Torah. I want to begin here in the writings of Shemoth, Exodus. This is when a nation was brought out from that Bovel, the captivity of Mizraim, that they had learned all kinds of pagan institutions. We can see that in the Bimidbar, in the wilderness. They had learned every kind of evil conception of every god, twisted god. They brought those images, the lies, traditions, and all of that. And Yah says to Moshe, I want to begin the year, as the old folks would say, on a tough note, on an excellent note. He speaks so profoundly here in Shemoth, Exodus 12 and verse 2. This is when the Pesach, the Passover, was introduced or instructed by institution, not by Moshe, but by Yah. It says this month shall be to you the beginning of months. Chodash. It is plural here, months. Not the month, but months. This shall be the Chodash. We know what the Chodash is. It implies that when that slither of the moon appears, or the rebirth of the moon, that begins day one. Not day two, but day one. And the evil that, as you watch us here, as we prepare for Shavuot, that you can see that slither of moon that we were able to record because of the clearness of the sky. Yah says, it shall be the beginning. This shall be the beginning. And so when something or the reshit of anything, there must be one. The first. He says also, it shall be the first. It shall be the Rishon, the absolute first month of the year to you. He said first. And in my ignorance, I know that after 1 comes 2 and 3 and 4. There is no 1 plus 1 plus. It is only 1, my friends. And so we sold this damnable, twisted effort, even magnified to a degree this year, and that many of you follow that. Not only 1 month, but there's a second month that is the same month. That's a lie. And if you all pursue that after listening to this, then there is damnation for you. There is no way in Torah whereby it tells us that there should be 2 months of the same month. There is nowhere you can search the internet and look at some of the most ignorant violations of Torah, that they will say you must see the barley. That's a lie. There is not 1 cup to 1 scripture that tells us that there must be a sighting of barley. And you believe those lies. May I impose here? Test me with it. Try me. Show me. And if you give me evidence or proof, well, it's the she. Well, that's simply the Omer, a dry measure of substance. Has nothing to do. There is nowhere in Torah, and I have looked to see how men twist that line. Wow, Ruth came at the time of harvest. What harvest? There was a corn harvest and all kinds of harvests. May I say this nation? We live, our community is in an agriculture zone here. There are tens of thousands of acres around us. They farm everything from cotton, wheat. Very little barley is grown here, but there are those that grow barley for simply the straw. Barley straw is very vital. And they grow all kinds of wheat. Every kind. May I say this, there are wheats that are grown here, that are grown for fodder, for animals, and things of that nature, even for bread, and things of that nature. But there is wheat that is grown in the Midwest, the red wheats and the different types of wheat that are grown nothing but for their protein. Corn is like 35% protein. And they grow that to fatten the animals. And much of the wheat that is grown in the Midwest and the West, it's grown for China because of the protein value. And I challenge all of you all, first of all, if you contact YisraYah'ale, that piece, and slither of land, agriculture department, you can go to their site. And they will tell you there is very little barley grown there. Secondly, this was wild barley. You can't even find barley in that region. And the lies that are purported by these thieves and liars to play on your emotions to make you think you're right, you're wrong. You are absolutely wrong. There is very little wild barley growing anywhere in that part of the world. Very little barley is grown in that region throughout that section of the world. And if you search the internet and look to see how many types of barley there is, I will give you that for your lesson. You can find out the types. You can go to Wikipedia and it'll show you the variations of barley. This is a stupid generation. And you have been hoodwinked by those that will laugh to you, and they have no guilt, like the rules of the world. And because of the complexion of their skin, you buy that. But a man like me, you will not buy the truth. Because I'm not intelligent, I don't have the articulate skills of men of that nature, or the scholars of Jewishism. You know, I utilize their resources to combat their own lies. That's what I use. And so Yah is he precise there with the first month. All right, oh man, I like that. He's right and precise with the first month. Is he precise as to when the year begins? It doesn't begin in the 7th month. It begins in the first month. To give some validity to that, let's go to Bereshit quickly. Genesis. You will never find the word solar in Torah. You will find the word Yom, Yomil, which implies a solar lunar day, or a solar day. And this is what the Torah says here in Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 1, verse 5. It says, and Almighty Yah called the or, the light, he called that Yom, Yomi. And the darkness she called night. And the eve and the morning were the first day. Is that precise? Do you believe on the Gregorian of the Julian calendar that what we identify as Sunday begins the first day? That's the first day. Are you correct in that operation of understanding that there's a first day, there's a first month, there's a first hour? Will you buy that from Torah? Is that precise? When y'all use the word Yom, or in its phraseology, it is used 38 times in the Torah. It identifies with the solar day, and that's it. It doesn't identify with the lunar solar year. You adding a month, that is evil. And I will show us how evil that is. As I read from the lexicon, it says here concerning the Giza calendar that an exact picture of the Tanakh year is very clear in Hanukkah's calendar. And I've heard the ignorance of men today. They will say, well, Hanukkah's calendar is a lunar solar. You are a filthy, dirty, evil liar. You play on the ignorance of people, and they buy your dirty, filthy lies. You're going to pay. We're going to examine Hanukkah. Let me read this, may I? Here in YHWH, Leviticus 23 and 5. How Yah is so precise in his time, his order of events, who laid out the year, and I will prove all things by the writings of Hanukkah. The Torah says in Leviticus 23:5, Yah commands in the 14th day. Is that precise? The 14th day. My mother tells me my birth was on the 6th of the month that I was birthed in. But he says in the 14th day of the first month. He did not say the first of the second month. He said the first. Rishon. The absolute primary number one. He says in the first month at evening, before the sun sets, as we go into that period of time whereby the sun, like it is here at this moment of time, he said that shall be the Pesach. That's where it began. And when the sun sets, you enter into Matzah. Is he precise on time? I know that there are many of you that are cowards. You're illiterate when it comes to Torah, and your arrogance of your ignorance speaks. Does he imply the first month? I heard this violent creature of hell say, well, we're going to keep the second Pesach. Well, you must understand what Hanukkah and the Torah says about those that keep what they call the second. They didn't prepare, they had time to prepare. And they live a distance. And so Yah said, we will make that provision. But he says this precisely. They will not get by with their evil. They're going to pay for that. And so all of you that celebrated what you call the second month or the second Pesach, you're evil and you're not going to get by. You're corrupting you, yourself, your family, your wife, your children, your husband. You're corrupting them, especially you cowardly men. I have no compunction being proved wrong. This book proves me wrong every day, every time I study it. Is he precise in when he identifies the 14th day? Is he wrong when he identifies the first month at evening? Is Shemoth wrong when he says that this month shall be to you the beginning of months? Is that wrong? I see nowhere where he said that there is a second Adar or Nisan. I see nowhere where he said that. I see nowhere in Torah. I see nowhere in Torah where he says there must be a sighting of the barley. That has been one of the most deceiving things of all time. That lie. And you buy it. And because one say, I'm a Jew or Jewish, you buy the lies. You buy the lies. You don't even spend time or quality time in Torah, but you watch television all damn day. And you incubate your mind with lies and deception. You don't even have the ability to debate the most simple things of Torah. So I believe what I read there in Shemoth 12:2 is true, every word of it. I believe that which was in YHWH 23:5, he's precise in his time, just like he was in the birth of Yeshua, your birth and mine. And I certainly buy what Yah says in Bereshit, that he identifies the first day. He identifies that. And there is no first day and the next day, because we are trying to calculate things in our own unintelligent mind, in our ignorance, that there's going to be another first day plus. That's a lie, my friends. And I'm going to prove all things according to Torah. And I really don't care if you like me, you love me. And this shall be a teaching that I will teach for some period of time. Let me define Chodesh according to the lexicon. I want to read this. One writing or one of the interpretations of the word Chodesh. It says that this word Chodesh, it is a noun. It occurs about 283 times. And what we call scripture, I will use what they say, biblical Hebrew in all periods. The word refers to the day on which the crescent appears. Now, I will show us an example of that. I've always taught this. It is found in 1 Samuel chapter 20 and verse 24. This is when Shaul was in pursuit of Dawid. He has seen the dark nights and he wanted to identify with the time and the season. And it says this in 1 Samuel 20:24. So Dawid, he hid himself in the field. There is a colon there that gives us indication there is much more of a profound action of Dawid that is added. And when the new moon, when the Chodesh was come, the word come is more. In order for something to come, if someone comes to visit you, they must enter in. And that's what the word come or more implies. That it has entered in, it exists, there is an appeal you can visually see. And he saw that slither of Tikvah. And that Tikvah was in the promises of Almighty Yah. It says this. And when the new moon, the Chodesh was come, it says the king sat down to eat meat. He knew when the time and the season. He didn't have to speculate. He knew exactly how long he had been in that kind of captivity, running and hiding. But the promise was unto him. He was the one. He was the one of the sons of Jesse. YHWH, that's YHWH had anointed. He also gives us another indication of the same thing of the word Chodesh. Chodesh. This is what Yah says. And I will say to you all that have lied to the people, prove me wrong, please, Achim. Prove me wrong. Now, I'm not going to debate any woman, so don't write to me, please, daughters. If you try to correct me, I know you correct your own husband. And you are violent thief. And I will not allow you to do that to me. He may, but not me. You will not, and I will not allow your emotions to play on me. Now let's see what YHWH, Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 14. What does Yah say? This is what he hates. What you did this year, what you are doing to satisfy your desire to keep the time of his season doing the Spirit. May I say this to you? How is it that we live in the northern hemisphere? There are those of the southern hemisphere. Most of South America is in the southern hemisphere. Don't tell me that when we enter into the summertime, they're entering into the winter. When we enter into the spring, it's the fall of the year. And they're just beginning to cultivate their fields. And so you tell me that YisraYah'ale is not scattered, put in all parts of the world? You're full of your deception. And don't tell me, you Hebrew Israelites, that all of y'all's nation is in the Americas. You are a filthy, damnable, twisted liar. He promised Abraham that he will multiply his seeds, his seed, his seed, his seed. They will be multiplied 1,000 times. He gave us a land from that little slither from the great river Nile, that Yam to Euphrates. You can put 5-6 million people there, and there's room we can live with. He did not give us one little slither of land. This is the ignorance. We got to go back to that slither. I'm going nowhere. Nowhere. Yah is going to repatriate us. It is going to defy every element. Well, I'll catch me a plane. I don't need to. Well, I will catch me a flying sauce. I don't know what a flying sauce is. Neither do you, you ignorant individual. We are stupid and we're ignorant. This is what Yah says. You notice the pronoun. He says, your, not mine. Because we know the Moedim, these are the Moedim, the feast of Yah. He says, your months. Your months. And your appointed feast. Your appointed feast. You have no compunction as to my instructions, whereby men should labor to understand all things. He called them yours. You own them. They're not mine. You own this last thing you call Bezak. You own your second one. You own your Sha'u, your tabernacle. He said, your feasts, they're yours now. He did not say mine. He's not going to let us corrupt his days. He says, my being, my nephesh, shoneh, I hate them. I despise your months, your days, your feasts. He said, I hate. He said, not only that, but they sarah, they trouble me. They make me angry. They make me upset with you hard-headed, evil people. Semicolon. He said, I am lacha. I am weary. I am grieved. Not only am I grieved, I am offended at your lies. Yah's offended. Where are the leaders? Where are the men that lead by the inspiration of Torah? He says, your feast days, I am laha, or laha. I'm impatient with you. They grieve me. I'm offended to bear them. I don't even like them. You think he liked this what you all have perpetrated, your leaders, your lies? And don't tell me, Hebrew Israelites, you have copied the same carbon copy of those that you repudiate, you despise their actions and their claiming of the lineage, and you follow the same order that they follow. We're your leaders that they get together to reason, and let's examine the Torah and see if that's right. But you cowardly little boys, you don't want to do that. It's not hard. It's not difficult for me to understand what a day is. It's not hard for me to understand on the eve of the first day to the eve of the next day, that's the first day. And from that eve to the next eve is the second day. Yah lays it out all in Torah, my friend. So you have caused a conspiracy against Almighty Yah and the violent contempt that you're performing this year. It's evil, it's wicked, it is corrupt. And that is the truth. Let me go back to that statement in the lexicon. I want to read again concerning the writings of Chanukh. It says an exact. An exact is precisely the same. It is a carbon copy. An exact picture of what? How do we know the picture of when time begins, when it ceases? Picture of the Tanakh year. It is very clear in the Chanukh calendar. And I've heard more men say, well, what's the Chanukh calendar? They don't know anything at all, nation. They talk foolishly, and you buy their stupidity. They are ignorant men. The ignorant is profound. Let us begin. If you have the writings of Chanukh, I want you to shout hallelujah. Let me inject this. I have labored over the many years in the book of Chanukh. You must understand the times, the order of times. In book 5, I believe, if I do recall, is from chapter 72 to chapter 82. And this is what Chanukh deals with, the times, the season, the years, and the preciseness of the book. I want to begin here in Chanukh, chapter 72, and verse 32. Chanukh 72, verse 32. This he began to speak. How does Chanukh speak? We will learn that where he got this information, when he writes. He didn't have to study the stars like Meta and give you intercalaries that is satisfy your pagan days. Yah hates Easter. He hates your pagan lies of Passover. He hates that. And Chanukh says in Chanukh 72, may I read one verse here, verse 32. He says, on that day and the night, he's talking about the luminaries, he says shortens. He gives us the parts of the via of each transition. The moon, the sun, and all. He says that night is shortened. You see that in the season, the fourth season. He said part of the day, 9 parts. You don't even know what the 9 parts are. You will read that and you will not even examine that through Torah. 9 parts, then the night becomes equal with the day. Listen to what it says. I want to pause for 1 second. And I want us to carefully read this. He said, and the days of the year, and the days makes no difference with the sun, the stellar, the stars. He says, and the days of the year adds up exactly, precisely, a solar 365.2 or 0.3 minutes. You cannot measure a time in that dimension. And that's why under the Jewish laws of the Torah, they have 14 different ways to examine the year, that it will coordinate with the times and the festivities and the festivals. he says the days of the year add up to exactly, it is precisely 364 days. If there is anything different than this, it's a lie. I read from the lexicon that Hanuk, the calendar of Hanuk, and we're going to examine that. And there are you that say, well, I know the calendar of Hanuk. You are liars. You are the ones that perpetrated this false lie of the season to Adam. And there are you men that are so cowardly, you don't have the unction of the guts. How can you lead someone when you will not allow truth to correct you? That's what Hanuk says. Is 364 days. Not 365.3, 364. Listen, he gives us one of the most perfect examples of his writings. When he taught his sons, and they will teach it to us. He says in Hanuk 74, I want you to hear this. He gives us this pattern as to how, listen, how relationship, how it all works together in conjunction, whether it's days, months, hours, it all works together, moon, sun. He shows us a relationship. I want you to hear this. Hanuk, Enoch chapter 74, verse 10. And this is where many mess up. Listen to what it says. He says, if 5 years are combined, he identifies the sun. Does it say that? Sure it says that. He said the sun. He did not say the earth. He said the sun gains 50 extra days. On what? On the celestial bodies, even on the earth. But he said the sun gains it. Its power, its ambience, it gains, its circular, it gains 50 extra days. Semicolon. Consequently, one of those 5 years gained. You tell me 50 days? Listen to what he says here. And when it is complete, although it gains 50 days, although it has an advantage on the earth and the moon, it gains 50 days. And when it is told me, when it is complete, you that espouse the Hanuk calendar, you're full of your filthy lies. You don't even labor to understand and study. It says when it is complete, it turns out 50 days it cannot be. Yah said it is. He says it turns out to be 364 days. Not 365.3 or 0.2 in some of the astronomical of deduction. He said the sun gains 50 days. Am I lying? Is that in the rendition you have? It gains 50 days. On the moon, on the stars, on the bodies of the heavens. But when it all is complete, in the time span of Yah, it's still 364 days. You're not a laborer of truth. You don't study to show him approved, God. It turns out to be 364 days. Then it says, the gain of the sun and of the stars. He did not say the earth gains, but the sun gains. The stars. I put together a message probably 10 years ago on there are certain aspects of science I will buy. Maybe I don't. While the earth revolves around the sun. No, it says, and the sun rises. So that tells me that the earth stays in this position. This is the centrality of Yah's creation. and everything evolves around the earth. It says the gain of the sun and of the stars turn out to be 10 days each year. That's the gain on the earth. But he talks here. In verse 11, in 3 years, 10 days every year add up to 30 days. And the moon fall behind the sun. And the stars 30 days. But he brings it all to its punctuation, to its writing in the tablet, to punctiliously. He says they bring about all the years. Punctiliously. The word punctiliously, it's so great attention to detail. It brings about the year punctiliously. Great details, correct behavior, diligently, attentive, and it is meticulous. It brings about the years punctiliously, with puncture, so that they forever neither gain upon nor fall behind their fixed positions. What are you saying there, Hanuk, as our Zochim Birmi would say? But they convert. They convert the year with position for a single day, but they convert the year with punctuality, punctiliously, with justice. They don't steal from a day, they don't steal an hour in 364 days. This is what Hanuk says. The sun gains, the moon and all. They gain. But the earth does not gain or lose anything. And for you to concoct such a damnable lie, you that say you love Yah and you follow it, and you will debate those that are students of Torah and you don't know nothing. Well, Hanuk said, well, you're listening and reading something, you're not thoroughly reading it properly. I search things with such detailed analysis and analyze the process all by Torah. That's why you can tell me that the barley is the most important thing to identify the model. He set that moon there. And Hanok says that the dimension of the moon is the same as the sun. The sun looks bigger. They're the same. And there are times that the moon looks so gigantic. You buy these lies and you spouse these lies. You're wrong, man. And you're such an ignorant coward, you don't even know how to submit yourself and learn from those that have experienced and walked in the way and examined things for many years. You're cowards. And I'm talking to you that are listening to me tonight. There are many cowards that are listening. Don't write me and say that I want to know if your feast days equate with mine. I don't give a damn when you have calculated them. I will do things according to Torah. It's not difficult. And you go to YHWH 23, you do it right every time. You don't need nothing else. You look for that moon. You look for that chodesh, that slither, and you count the time. But it is punctilious, that it does everything justice. 364 days. It's amazing that you have this year ordained 2 months. I can see if they had different names, but this is the surmising of thieves and liars. That's why Yah hates your feast days. That's why you do everything. The women dress like dirty whores and sluts. They dress like whores off the street, and that's a fact. They got their titties out, their buttocks, their eyes, and you're dancing, you're rapping, you're shaking your buttocks, and you playing your country western blues, and all that bogus lie. and there is no light to your gathering because you have no life. Everything is dull and humdrum. There is no activity of rejoicing. That is the truth. You're going to have a great time here. Hallelujah. Our children, you know, it's amazing because our children look forward to the morning. Our babies look forward to the feast days. When is Tabernacle, Poppy? They look forward to it because they know what we're going to do and the great events and the things we do. This going to be different than those over the many, many years. We're going to do things a little different. We're trying to do things here to reconstruct our community. And God has blessed us in a mighty way to do this. 365 days. No, 364. You notice that Easter and what you call Passover, they all adjust that it will fall in the same time here. What about the brothers and sisters in the southern hemisphere, that if we did it right, the feast days will rotate and they'll have it in the fall, in the spring of the year like us? Wouldn't that be beautiful if we did it right? And we'll understand the various seasons and the harshness and the time that it takes a little more to press through to prepare. It takes more to sleep in the sukkah without the proper attentiveness or attention as a home would give. You tell me they're not Yah's people. We got this wrong. You do. I don't have it wrong. I'll let this book correct me. Well, that's not enough. Well, let me proceed on to Hanuk 75. The 75th chapter of Hanuk, Enoch. And I want to begin here at verse 1. And Hanuk talks about the stations in the heavens that are fixed. And that each of the orbiting bodies, or each the sun, the moon, the stars, they have positions and places to show that they are attentive unto what the earth commands. Do you all hear me? Hallelujah. And that's what they show, attentiveness unto that. Let us examine this in Hanuk. I want you to hear this. Chapter 75 and verse 1. He talks about the leaders of the chiefs and thousands. They are appointed over the whole creation. And upon all the stars, listen now, they are counted together with 4 leaders of the season. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. He says this, they do not leave from the fixed stations. Why? According to the reckoning of the year. They don't move. They don't leave. According to the instructions or the orchestration of what a year that we as a people would understand. He talks about this epic, or I will pronounce it ipagomenola. I have a software that pronounces words that when I need to understand the phonetics, and the phonetics of the word is epigomenal. It is the intercalaries. And I'm going to begin teaching on all of this, don't worry. I will show you the era of man's corruption. He says that and they render service on the 4 days, which are not counted in the reckoning of the year. 4 days. So a year is 360. But he gives us the consequence of that. On this account, he says, people err in them, they err in them. For those luminaries, listen, they scrupulously, precisely, exactly, render service to the fixed stations in the cosmos. They know exactly what's going on and what it should be. He says, one in the first gates of heaven, and I know you read that and you think you know what you're reading. You don't even know. You want to prove to someone, well, first, you don't even know what the first gate of the heavens really consists of. And one in the third, and one in the fourth, and one in the fifth, one in the sixth. For what? Let us read carefully. It says, in this manner, the year is to me, it is perfect, scrupulously, very careful, thorough. It does what it's supposed to, and it is done with such scrupulousness that it avoids any kind of error. He says how? 4 days not counted? We'll understand that in the teachings to come. In 364 stations in the cosmos. Where is this lunar calendar of the solar lunar calendar of Hanuk? He gave every obedience unto the moon, the sun. He gave those bodies of the stellars and the heavens that they will govern us in days and nights. He gave that one thing called the Kodesh, to govern us in the months and the years. And they work in conjunction with that, not your damnable, twisted lies of your religion. I don't care what your Rebbe says. He's a liar. They don't even deal with sin. You can live corrupt, do every wicked thing there is. That's wrong, people. You know it's wrong. Verse 73 of 75. Thus the signs, the duration of time, comma, the years, comma, and the days were shown to me. This is what Hanuk says. He didn't understand this, but it was written before he was. He says that YisraYah'ale, the Melech YisraYah'ale, whom Yah, the Almighty of eternal splendor, has appointed of all the luminaries of the heavens. For what reason? Both in the heavens and the world. In order, listen, that's plural now, that they listen to what it says. The sun, the moon, the stars, and all the created objects, what are in circulation, or which circulate in all the chariots of the Hashemayim, shall rule in the face of the sky. You hear that? There's a comment there. He says, in the face of the sky, I do apologize, there's a conjunction, and be seen on the earth. For what reason? To be guides. That's what they're for, to be guides to what? For the day and the night. That's what they're there for. They're to guide us in the day and the night, and we know what the night is. We know what guides us in the time, the season of Yah's years at his time. That's what the sun is there for. It guides in the day. That's what the stars, we see them at night. That's what the moon is there to guide us for the night. That's what it is there for nature. But it all, even though the sun gains, it all render the service of Yah, that there's only 364 days. You haven't proved it. Well, let us deal with Hanuk 82. Hanuk 82. Hallelujah. It says this in Hanuk 82. It deals with the astronomical and the bodies of the heavens. He talks about the Ipagomeno or the Gomeno days. Listen to what he says. These are the 4 days. He says, truly, everything I said, I learned it from YisraYah'ale. He said, recorded forever. One in the first gate, and one in the third, and one in the fourth, and one in the sixth. He said, the year is complete. I don't care what no one says. He said, the year is complete in 364 days. 364 days. We better repent of our error. I have no compunction listening to any man. I listen to the Achim, they rebuke me up and down. It's almost like they have a personal attack on me. I would not want it any other way. I would be upset if they did not. And if there are men that are wise, I have no problem with you showing and teaching me. But it must equate and be calculated by the same manner of Yah, what he says. Skip down to verse 11 in the same chapter. He says, the four leaders which distinguish the four seasons of the year enter first. After them enter the 12 leaders, and the other which distinguish the months. You must have months. There are no 13 months. That's a wicked lie. It's a damnable lie. It's a twisted lie. It is a violent offense against Yah. He says, he tells us which distinguish the months. This is in a call after that months. Is it not? A profound attachment here. And the 360 captains which divide the days, the four days come, and the leaders could divide the four seasons. It all equates to one thing: 364 days. Well, that is not anything that will give me inspiration. Well, let us see what happened. When Noah come, when he cried out to Yah in the ark of safety, quickly the writings of Jubilees, division of Jubilees. Chapter 6, how would he know what a year was unless Yah told him? And I will show us that. Let us go to Jubilees chapter 6 and verse 32. And command you the children of YisraYah'ale, I command you children, I command, I speak with the authority of Yah this night from the book. He says, and you command the children of YisraYah'ale that they should observe. That's how we observe the moon. The years. This is how we observe the years. According to this reckoning, 364 days. Is that a lie? I don't care how many days the sun gains or the moon loses. It's still what God said. He said, and these will constitute a complete year. And there's one thing he said they will not do. And they will not disturb the time from it is days and from when it is the more. What is the time of the feast? They won't disturb. You will function in the feast days precisely. The first day doesn't disturb anything from the seventh day, the Shabbat. Well, it's cold. Well, it's supposed to be cold. And so other Achim, the daughters of Zion, down in the southern hemisphere, they will enjoy the season in the 4 seasons. That's why this thing with the barn is a lie. It is one of the most violent lies. There is not one verse that you can show me in the book or any indication where Yah says it must be according to the Bible. You are a liar. He says this, it will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts. For everything, not some things, but whole, everything will fall out in them according to the testimony. You tell me those days and all that testimony, where is it? I want to read it. And they will not leave out any day. And they don't disturb any feast. You liars. You macaroons of the world, where people buy your lies, you grinning, skinny devils, laugh and make mockery of Yah. Your liars and your dirty dogs. You will not leave out any feast of the days. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to Yah's commandments. The son is not going to disobey Yah's commandment. We do. Then they will disturb all their season. That's what they have done this year. They have done it in the past, but this year is blatant. You that's supposed to be leaders and wise men leading your home, you can't catch a thing because you're going to flow with the crowd. You got this religious identity. And not only will they disturb their season and the years, and will be dislodged from this order, and they will disturb them more again, the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect the ordinance that I've read to you. That's what has happened this year in a most violent, blatant way. I heard one say, well, we're going to keep the first Pesach, but we're going to keep the second. What a damn twisted lie. There's only one Pesach. You have made a provision for those that have struggled. And if they had made preparations right, they can be there on time. And they should have. He says, and all the children of YisraYah'ale, you child of YisraYah'ale, he said, will forget. Your religious way has made you forget and will not find the path of the years. You see what you have done? Your metallic cycle, your intercalaries, you've added your Ipa, Gomenalma, you've added your days. You were so blatant, you added a month. You were so blatant, you added a month. You were so violent against Yah, you added a month. He says, and all the children of YisraYah'ale, they will forget, and they will not find the path of years. They won't even know what year. How long is the year? They're not even cognate. And they will forget Chodesh. They will forget the new moon. And because they've forgotten the new moon, they will forget the beginning of the year. So you have two beginnings. Under the Judaism, there are at least 3 New Years in their culture. That's a fact. You know they call it Rosh Hashanah. The beginning of the new year, or the head of the new year. The 7th month. They will forget the new moon. They will forget the seasons and the Shabbat. And Yah says that they will go wrong. You went wrong this year. You that are new to this way, you went wrong because you're arrogant. You know there are people that come, nation. I know the ability of men and women. I can watch a woman from a distance. When I say watch, I don't look at no man's wife and just try to study her. I watch the attitude and I watch how their actions and their activities. I watch men. And I tend not to do much fellowship with the men. I leave that to the brothers, the achim, and they will spend time. Because there are things in my crudeness of language, I will say that they are not ready for it, like this. And I know our achim, all of them are very beautiful men. They are. Their beauty is much greater than mine. And that's just the truth. And so I will tend to remove myself because I'm very dominant. I command the attention, I command the conversation. And even at more than the feast days, I very seldom inject myself into the fellowship. I believe that's I will be absent from certain things. Not certain things, I will be absent from everything. I don't participate because I want their fellowship and to learn and care for each other. They have forgotten the new moon. They have forgotten the new moon, the season, and the Shabbat. And we have gone wrong to all, not some, but all the orders of the year. They've gone wrong. You got so many times for the Moed of Yah, the Moedim. It's crazy. It is asinine. It is stupid. And I'm not trying to adjust, and I will not, our seasons with someone else's. I'm not going to do it. Men that never had any tutelage and identify the markers of identifying the season. They already got it. They already got it 2 or 3 years. They know it all. And they don't spend time studying. The men that work 12, 15 hours a day, don't tell me you have time to study. I work. I was up this morning, I laid the bricks yesterday for a wall. And when he woke up, he said, I was about to make some mud. And I see you've already laid the bricks. I said, lay the first course, because I'm getting old. I can't pick up those heavy blocks like I used to. And not only that, he laid half of the second course with he and I together. He did the work. And so I laid the rest of the courses later on this evening, later on that day this morning. And I went out, had to take care of things, had to go to Lowe's and retrieve material and things. And so I'm always working. I'm always doing something. But I always have the time I can take 20, 30 minutes or half an hour to study. And I do it all the time. All the time. I put together troves of messages that I will never preach. And I know that. But this I'm going to teach. He said we will go wrong to the order of the years. Now Jubilee 635. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto you. And it is not of my own device. He said, this is not something that I'm saying more. He said, this is not my writing. He said, for the book is written before me. It was written before Moshe, before Hanuk, before Yahshua. He says, the book was written before me, and on the heavenly tablets, the division of days, they are ordained. How can you define what Yah ordained before there was ever an ordination of anything? He is the ordainer, just him alone ordained days. They were ordained on the tablets of the heavens. That's why Hanuk can be taught from YisraYah'ale. He said, lest they forget the feast. We have forgotten the feast days of Yah. Of the covenant, and to walk according to the feast. And that's what we do of the Gentiles. You're going to have the same identity of time, just like Easter and all. You don't call it Easter, but that's what you celebrate. You do the same thing they do on Easter. They get drunk, they have folly and all of that. You come together for the Pesach or for your Easter. It is pagan form. They get drunk. They rap off. That's so evil. It's pathetic. How can you take that from the world and esteem it before Yah? That which brings lure and filthiness. The Beyonces and the Jazzy Z, whatever it is, Jay-Z and the 50 Cents and all of them. They popping rap, and you're rapping unto YisraYah'ale. You are a dirty, filthy liar. If I open the gates to this place, they will come from everywhere. Just come filthy. Women bathe, sunbathe, and you short, dressed like a whore. You're not coming here that way. And I will tell you, when you visit here, you wear your dress down to your ankles. And don't come here with no gold shirt on. You wear at least down to your elbows. And take off your damnable bangling earrings and all of that Jezanite mess. Take your jewelry off. You know what's amazing is one thing that when these fake Muslims in the Ramadan, that everyone wears the same thing. You don't know the filthy billionaires from the pauper of the street. They almost wear the same garment, no jewelry, no nothing, no gold watches, no gold ring. And we come to our fake gatherings dressed like whores, tight blue jeans on. Your print of your organ is being seen, and you want them to see it. You want the men with shorts on, and they're rapping, yeah, Jesus Christ is my king, you know. And I said, Jesus, Jesus. That's a damn that faggot dog. And I say that. Hallelujah. This was written before Hanuk Moshe. We have gone to where the Gentiles, And that's why your Easter is just like their Easter too. Same time, every day, precisely. Verse 36 of Jubilee 6:36. For there will be those who will assuredly make observation of the moon, how it disturb the season and come in from year to year. Look at this. 10 days too soon, the moon? You know that mess up the order of time on the earth. For this reason, the year will come upon them, and they will disturb the order, and they will make an abominable day of the testimony, of the Feast of Gathering. That's what you're doing this year. And the unclean days a feast day, and they will confound all days, and the Kodesh of the unclean, and the unclean days with the Kodesh, and they will go wrong as to the months, Shabbats, the feast, and the times of Jubilee. You know, there are some crazy people out here. There are people that know everything and they don't know it. I can listen to their language and their verbiage, and you know their ignorance. The way they talk, they're repeating something they've heard. They're not examining anything. Whoa, the year of Jubilee. Where did you get that from? I can see if a man is a scholar that he has spent years and laboring to understand. You spend a day or two, you know everything. That's ignorance. Verse 38, look what he says. For this reason, I command and testify to you that you testify to them. I'm testifying you tonight, devils, with that devilish mess. There's some that are listening, the few, and some of you are devils. You listen to see that if you can find an angle to prove me wrong, you're not going to prove this wrong. You prove me wrong every day because I'm wrong in everything I do. He said, you testify to them. For after the death of your children, it will disturb them. And they will not make, this is what it says, so they will not make the year 364 days only. It's got to be now. You might as well love me. Hallelujah, I bless Yah for you, that you have the ability to receive what was written on the tablets. And for this reason, they will go wrong. As to the new moons, the season, the Shabbats, and the festivals, the feast days, that they will eat all kinds of blood and all kinds of flesh. You eat everything that is evil, and that is wicked, my friends. That's what you do. And that's why you're wrong this year. And you're going to be wrong next year, and the next year, and the next year, because you have no cognitive ability to reason with what Yah said. Well, you got to add this. I have one tell me, write me, and say, well, you know, Saluda. And so it says that the moon gains 50 days, the sun gains. But it does not affect the time of the earth. It's crazy. I'm amazed that people are. I'm not an educated man. I'm a high school dropout. And people that are educated. I have a precious friend there in Texas. He's a very brilliant man I like. I love him. I know you're listening, my friend. And he will always say to me, he has said many times, you know, Ray, there are those that when they fill out their resumes, they have PhD and they have the masters and all of this. He said, Omar is high school dropout, and he's a very bright man in his professionalship and his steadiness of his wisdom. You know you're there. I know I'm talking to you, and you know I'm talking to you. And they want to boast in that. I'm a high school dropout. I have no education at all. My life has been one of experience and watching those that are perceived to be wise and listening. Can I ask you, educated ones, is the professor more educated than you? Is he wiser? So you listen. You don't go in there playing on your cell phone in the class in the university, do you? I'm quite sure you don't. I want to show us something that is so important. What Yah says to Moshe. How do we know when a year is? Can I ask you a question? Can Yah or will he break his Torah and the laws that he has made? No. Let me show you this in the book of YHWH. YHWH chapter 6. YHWH chapter 6. Verse 36. Who defines the year? Is it your religious leaders or you or Yah? I want to read this in YHWH chapter 6, YHWH. Chapter 6, verse 36. It says, and then Noach opened the windows of the ark. And he called out to Almighty Yahweh with a deep voice at that time. And these are the words of Noach. Oh yeah, I know who did form the earth, and the Shemayim, the Olam, the Eretz, and the heavens above, and all that is therein. You made everything, every seed, every tree. You formed it all. He says, I beseech you, please. This is such agony. Bring forth our nephesh, our being, from the confinement and from the prison wherein you have placed us. He said, I'm much weary and silent. How long are you going to keep me here? I don't understand that. That's how he talked to the Most High. It says, and Yah listened. He hearkened the voice of Noah and said to him, when thou shalt have completed a full Janeth, a year, you shall then be brought forth. There was only one thing that when Noah opened that covering and saw that sliver, he knew that it was the beginning of the year. And he says to Moshe, and at the revolution of the year, he said, when a full year was completed to Noah, dwelling in the ark, the waters were dry of the earth, and Noah put forth the covering of the ark. Was it 1 year plus a second month that represented the first? Or was it Tomim, just 1 full year? This is what the Torah says. This is what YHWH says. And there is only one first month. There's no second or an amendment or an addament to the first month. There's no 15 more days you can add or another 30 days. You are a filthy, dirty liar. How do I know? Well, I want to close, not close, but I want to give us a few more scripture. And let's see if the prophets of the Nabi, if they were liars. This is in 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra. Yah is the one that ordains the year. They told us, it's written on the tablets. And if he go a day short or a day longer, he's a liar. And by his immutability, he cannot lie. It says in 2nd Ezra 1:1, and Yoshib held the feast. He held the feast of Pesach in Yerushalayim to Yahweh his Almighty. And it says, and offered the Pesach. He offered up the Pesach the 14th day of the first month. How do you get a first month with the second month? Please, someone email me or help me out with that. You're not going to convince me He did not hold this. And you can count. I got charged from the beginning to all the Novi in the times unto Yahushua. You will never see in any place where the month, the time, the years change. But there was some kind of appendix to add another month. You're dirty, you are filthy liar, you're evil, and you're wicked. He held the gathering of Yah the first month. In the first month. And you held it this year in the appendix of the first month, a second month. You're evil because you waited for news to say the barley or it was sufficient. These are dirty dogs. They're liars. They are liars. Yah said to his nation, when you go into the land and the barley, one of the first things he did in YisraYah'ale, he destroyed the barley. And they haven't recovered from that since. And so there was no barley to replant. The wildness of it. And you know that's the truth. He destroyed it all. The locusts and very hand of Yah. There is no wild barley growing in that little piece of land, that little slither you call Israel. None. Very little. And so these liars that report back to this heathenistic people here in this country, they can sell them anything. And all of these men, you can say what you want to. They observe the council of the Jewish Talmudic council. And the elders that debate and always discussing, well, we can't allow Pesach to fall on this day, so we must interpolate, we must add, we must make provision. There's a calculation. If that's not confusing, the first day is not confusing to me. The second day, third, fourth, fifth, the eve of the sixth day in this Shabbat, it's not confusing to me. And I know, and I live on that cycle. I live on that cycle. I don't care if you say Monday or Sunday, but I live on that cycle. Well, it's pagan to say that. Well, you say your vocabulary is filled with pagan terminology. It's so stupid of you. It's so immature. You think you're bright, and you're not bright. Can I move a little further? I want to give us a little witness. It says on the 14th day of the first month. So we know what the first month is. Back to Bereshit, to Exodus. It says here in Exodus, just listen, I read it. 12:2. This shall be to you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. So the first month, he kept it in the first month of the year. That's what it says. In the first month of the year. How do you get a second month? And Adar too. Oh, that is so violently evil. And there you that were gathered in your nasty whorehouses, you were gathered in your little 2s or 3s. Nothing wrong with that, please. Believe me, I'm not saying that. There is nothing wrong with just 2 or 3 of you all. But it's important that you can get out and fellowship with those of the same precious emunah. Not just to be a part of something. You must examine yourself and see whether you're in the emunah. But that's what 2nd Ezra 1:1 says. 2nd Ezra 7:10. It says this, one verse. And the children of YisraYah'ale, there were other captivity. Those that were bound. They held the Pesach, the 14th day of the first month. Who gives you the audacity of arrogance to change what Yah had inscribed in the heavenly tablets? It tells us the 14th day. It tells us the first month. Not the second or the first appendix, the first month. But the first month, not the second. After that, the Koim and the Levi was set apart. That's what it was. Well, that's written in a book that I'm not familiar with. Well, let me ask you this. Are you familiar with YHWH? This is the prophecy against diarrhea. Look what it says here in Ezekiel, chapter 26, verse 1. And it came to pass how precise time is ordained. In the 11th year, it says the first day of the month, that the word of Yah came unto me, I want you to prophesy. Was he precise? Was it the 11th month or the 11th appendix 2? It was the 11th month. It was precisely the first day of the month. It was precisely when that slit, the Chodesh, the moon was seen. It was precisely that. It was precisely. And you can do all your appendix and alter things and change things. You're wrong, my friends. And that's a fact. Hanuk says, as I read to us in the lexicon, that Hanuk gives us the exact calendar. The lunar, solar, or solar, the stellar calendar, the astronomical calendar, all of them are variants. Yah says this, Hanuk 78:12. He says this, on the first day, you'll hear that, on the first day it is called the new moon. Because it's dark, on the first day, it is called the new moon because on that day, illumination began to set upon it. And listen to that. You can see it. And we rejoice here after the Shabbat last week. Ah, what a great time. The daughters began to sing, and our Zachin, YisraYah'ale, his wife, Achim, you are walking. We have this high-powered telescope that our friend from Texas brought here for the children. And our Zachin, YisraYah'ale, had the thing set up. It was precise. I looked at that thing, and you could even see the crevices of the moon. It was so delightful. And Ach Yosef had his binoculars. You could see it. And I was rejoicing with the fatness of Yah's great blessing. Hanuk says again, 78:12. On the first day, it is called the new moon because on that day, it's not dark. Because on that day, the illumination began to set upon you. If it's dark, there is no illumination. The man has done his thing and lied to us, and we buy the lies. And there are those that are so dogmatic, they can read that, and when you see the Chodesh, that's slitting, you know that that's a new moon. And we look for that. There are times we know around here we got to post the new moon. And what I do, I got it with the children. You know what are the babies? They look for those moons. The young ones, I tell them it's posted when the new moon should shine. I've utilized this moon phase calendar for many, many years. I purchased it off eBay. I'll purchase one probably in the weeks to come for 2020. And it is one of the most precise ones. I searched the internet. I find a plethora of calendars. And this one, I have a moon phase calendar on my telephone now. And on last Shabbat evening, that one was precise. We hadn't seen a moon in a long time. But by Imona, I know and I believe that although it's cloudy, it's raining. And that's the way we do it here. And then I can look days after that, I can see the percentage of the moon, and I will know just looking at the moon 2 days later, the children have the moon, Poppy, the new moon. It may be 8%. And you can kind of measure that from 1% or just say 4% of the moon. For us, it may be just the slither, maybe it varies in the seasons. And so you will know what it is. You will know that. You can go back those days and balance that out with the calendar, and you will know that you're right. And I purchased this calendar. I give it to the Achim Here's one for you, here's one for you. I want you to examine this with me and keep me on the right way. And I do an agonizing labor to make sure that we're right in the days. And I'll start right after tabernacle or do a tabernacle and setting the date for next year according to that. And I will watch for the signs of the heavens. I don't look for no barley. I've never looked for barley. I don't buy that lie. It's a lie. We're ignorant, we're unlearned, and I'm the most ignorant man. I've been caught up in things like that. Not caught up. I've searched, I've watched, I've looked. That doesn't add up with Torah. But we gotta see the barley. You are a filthy liar. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. And a sheep or an woman is very little. What, a quarter of a cup? Not a cup full? Get out of here. Hallelujah. That's when it's the new moon. When there's an illumination. You don't have to buy it, but that's what the book says. I want to speak from Amos. And I'm going to close from here. I'm tired, I'm working today and busy doing things. And they are calling for rain here beginning in the morning. I must say to you all that I have kept up with the hurricane and has veered off the coast here, so it looks as though that we certainly need the rain because we're watering our garden about every other day. And as a matter of fact, we're supposed to have fertilizer today with this beautiful organic fertilizer that we purchase. And the best stuff costs more money, nation. But it's looking very, very beautiful. This is what Amos says as he speaks by the command of Yah. Oppression was running rapidly among the nation, and destruction was on the horizon. And Yah says to the Lord, speak. Amos chapter 8. I want to read 2 verses 4 and 5. Hear this, O you that swallow up the needy. You take advantage, you rape, you rob. Even to make the poor of the land fail, you institute policies to make them ignorant whereby they fail, and there is no survival for them. Saying, this is what you say. When will the Chodesh, the new moon, be gone? Why? Why? So you add moons, and when will it be gone? He did not say that you may sell barley. He said that you may sell sugar. You may sell your corn. Question mark. And the Shabbats, that you may set forth your wheat. Making the ephod small, you don't even do the people right yet. You know that you have not examined the theses of this second Adon. You have not. You are a liar. You have not. If you go to the internet, even Jews and the Jewish scholars would tell you that's wrong. I go to their libraries, I go to the Jewish encyclopedias, I study from them. You make your ephod small and the shekel great, and you falsify the balance by mirama, by deceit, by your treacherous, evil, lying, deceptional ways of darkness. That's what you do, and that's a fact. You will eat your children, your wife, those that you say you love down a hollow pit of hell. And you know you're wrong. And there are you that are listening or will listen or will hear this. You're so emotionally involved. You don't want to say you're wrong. And that's evil. I'm wrong in everything. That's why I let this correct. This is the book that corrects. I'm wrong about everything. What I read to you tonight, not much commentary, but yes, commentary. It's all right. Yah's time, his days, his evening, 364. No. When the illumination, the sliver, set upon And that's what we count the new moon and the beginning of God's year. Not to moon. That, if that is not crazy, I don't know what is crazy. 2 January is January the 1st, January the 2nd. I know it's the Gregorian. It is so stupid. There are so many multiple. I say to you all, let me give you all a study. Do some research in the encyclopedia in any form you want and see how many different calendars there are. It will amaze you. It will amaze you, my friend. It will. And most of the things that we have contributed to, yeah, we have learned them from this calendar from YisraYah'ale. And that's how we do. That's why you all are different. You all got different dates. Well, what about your date? I got y'all's dates. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So you think you're right? I know I'm wrong. But the heavenly tablet is not wrong. May the riches of God rest upon you. Questions? You don't buy what was said tonight. Examine what I gave you and see if it's legitimate. All right? I'm not here to deceive you or take advantage or try to draw monies from you. That's not it. I said to y'all today as I was taking care of the community business, and at times I just call, just bless you. I don't have nothing. I have no possessions. I own nothing, but I'm so happy. I am so happy. I'm so thoroughly furnished. I love where I live. I love the community. I love the discipline of it. I love everything. I love the work. I love the garden. I love everything about it. That's a fact. I don't harbor any money. You that send gifts, tithes, or offering. I use it all. So when you come, you will have a wonderful experience and wonderful meals. We eat wonderfully, excellent meals. And so when you come to visit, you will enjoy the ambience of the community and all those things. You will. So we can't do that without funds. Help us. Send your tithes and your gifts here. If this blessed you tonight, send it. Send an offering. Pay your tithes. And I will continue in the tithing teaching. 2019 is the year. Tabernacle begins. I want to do one teaching and that will be it. And I may come on during the week doing tabernacle because there are activities. That those that are here that will be involved in events and trips. And that will be us that will stay back. I don't go on the trips. I don't want to do it, and that will be fun days and fellowship, wonderful eating, and things of that nature. You that want to visit, you must bring your own tent. You must bring your own tent. There will be no place for you, but we have plenty of space. We have a beautiful place. And you don't come with foolishness and folly. There's no trickery and you don't play. You don't dress in your shorts, your children, your daughters, with their little tank tops on. You're not coming in that way. Take your earrings, your jewelry, just abandon you. You're not coming to flash and to show you. That's not what this is about. And so you don't come in with your jewelry, your dresses up to your knees. Go down to the thrift stores and buy you dresses long. Make you something. You don't have to be filly fly here. Dress as a woman and husband. You don't come here with your tank top on, chest out, shorts on. Because you think you got the biggest cash in the world, I will beg your pardon on that, all right? And that's a fact. Or your chest is big, I would beg your not as well. And that's a fact. So you must dress according to our stipulations. Who are you? Well, in every profession, you dress according to written codes and not written codes. You can't wear that. Judge say you don't come in my courtroom like that. That's what they tell these female lawyers. Titties out. And you know that's a fact. What an abomination. I've seen these places where women got on blue jeans and you can see the print. You don't have to look to see it. Men got on pants so tight you see their personal anatomy. That's evil. You don't come here like that. You're not coming here with us like that. So I want to say to you all, may the riches of God rest upon you all. I've enjoyed the fellowship with you. Those that are in their homes here, I'm here in the tabernacle by myself. Ahmad goes and Abner is back there running your camera and everything. So may Rock be encouraged and be strong. We're going to end the broadcast here. Your blessings upon the nation. Yahshua's mighty name. Hallelujah. 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 Yabrak nation. Shalom. All right, son. Hallelujah.